Hello everybody, we have something exciting today. I'm pumped for it. We have the new major update v0.10.0.0 Eventide for Phasmophobia. So it is a brand new update, including a new map that we get to play. And I just want to go over the update with you really quick. Welcome back, we've got an update for you, no duh. Due to the size of this update, they gave it a new version number. That's not really important to us, and it changed up the roadmap a little bit because of that, just the numbering system. But, very first thing, Point Hope. Point Hope was recently refurbished by a young family seeking something unique to call home. You'll be welcomed by a modern extension complete with a hallway, closets, and downstairs bathroom. Before entering into the lighthouse's main living room, decorated with nautical knickknacks, you'll be faced with spiral staircases and round rooms. A first for ghost hunters. Yeah, brand new, so they have a whole different feature. The rooms are round and each floor is a room, which is really cool. At least as far as I think. This new location features 10 floors, 12 rooms, and so there's 2 rooms on one floor for 2 of the floors. A unique layout which will challenge players in new ways. You'll have to use different techniques for some of those pesky ghost abilities while playing on lower evidence game modes. So, I don't know how it's going to muffle the sounds, but everywhere you listen to, you're going to be able to hear left and right. Milings, I don't think we're going to be able to get far enough away from to actually do a miling test properly, which will be interesting. Unlocks at level 15. Alright, so progression changed a little bit. 1 to 100 is now reduced by 10% of how much experience you needed to actually get there, so it'll be easier to prestige and level up. They also increased the cap to 9,999. Sunny Meadows Restricted is now categorized as a medium location. That's just a sneaky little thing. And then they increased the money for what you get for medium and large. Alright, now onto the equipment. Dots. Tier 1 light range has been increased. Tier 3 scanning effect can now be paused by interacting with it while it is rotating, which is amazing for the Tier 3. Been asking for that since they released it, so it's going to be so nice that they actually have it. Okay, EMF. Tier 1's needle will no longer flicker near or past the 5 value during events and hunts to stop confusion with evidence. Tier 3 EMF reading now plays a unique sound. I think that was actually kind of okay having the Tier 1 flicker like that, because it was just something that newbies had to learn, and it kind of kept it interesting, so there's a little bit of variation. It makes it a little bit more difficult for people that are older playing with people that are newer, so that they have to make sure they're getting the right information out of them. But the Tier 3 EMF reading now plays a unique sound is awesome. Hopefully a little bit easier to determine by just hearing. It did play it like a little bit louder, but it was much harder to hear the difference on Tier 3s, so that's nice. Firelight. Increase the visibility or visible light intensity and range for both Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 duration increased to 3 minutes to 5. Tier 2 duration increased from 5 minutes to 10. Firelight and igniters will now be extinguished accurately in heavy rain. For example, they will no longer be extinguished under house porches and inside small tents. Oh, okay, cool. That's actually kind of nice. I didn't know that that was even happening because I don't use that as a feature all that often because of heavy rain. It's just heavy rain. I just think that you can't go ahead and go out there no matter what. I didn't realize you were even supposed to be able to use it in houses and small tents. Like, it makes sense, but I just didn't think about it. Headgear. A customizable key binding has been added to your control page for turning on and off headgear. Awesome. You can add it to, like, a macro key now. Turning headgear 1 on and off will now play different sounds to help know which state the equipment is in. Awesome. While within range of a ghost event or hunting ghost, Tier 3s will now have a visual interference. All tiers will now play a new sound. Wait, so they'll play a sound if a ghost event or hunting ghost is within range? Interesting. That's odd, but okay. I guess EMF level 4 it would make sense, like, canonically to be able to do that, but it just feels weird. Parabolic microphone. Tier 1's red light will now flicker when the sound is detected. Tier 3 can now receive sounds 1 floor above or below the player using it. With new UI to show which floor the sound is coming from, you now have to hold the parabolic microphones to turn them on or off. So, this is important, right? So, we're getting the new lighthouse, which is a floor-based system. Having that ability to tell exactly which floor the sound is coming from on that tier 3 is going to be critical in some instances to be able to tell on no evidence runs. So that tier 3 parabolic just got massively more important depending on what map you're doing. I would say that would help a lot in prison as well. Prison is a very common one where it's hard to go ahead and find the ghost and hard to be able to tell which floor it's coming from because of all the ambient noises. Plus, it's harder to hear the, not buffer, the dampening of most noises. Thermometer. This one's a big one. Holding down the use button while holding a thermometer 2 or 3 will now continuously update instead of having to restart after each reading. Oh my god, that's a quality of life improvement update that needed to happen. I'm so glad it's finally here. I hope they weren't holding off on that just for this new one. They should have just done that as a patch change if they had that done. Tier 1 now has randomization to make it consistent with the other tiers. Tier 3 hold time has been reduced to 2.5 from 3%. And Tier 3 randomization has been reduced to make it more accurate. So, that is going to make the Tier 3 a lot better and the Tier 1 worse. Not a lot worse, but still worse. So it's going to be beneficial to potentially buy them now. For a very long time, nobody was buying them because it wasn't necessary. I still only have the Tier 1 unlocked, even though I have all 3 tiers able to be unlocked, I believe. Tripods and video cameras. Ghosts will now throw video cameras more consistently. Okay. Tripod 1 knockdown chance increased from 20 to 30%, and Tripod 2 knockdown chance increased from 10 to 20%. Okay, so it's going to make the tripods more noticeable for the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Sanity medication. Let's see where this is. I don't know what they would even try to change here. Tier 1 restoration time has been decreased to 20 seconds from 30 seconds. Tier 2 restoration time has decreased to 10 seconds from 20 seconds. Tier 3 will now instantly refill your sprint endurance in addition to keeping it full for 10 seconds. Okay, so, yeah, the Tier 3 one makes sense. And also the time it takes to restore sanity, that's just nice, because it was a little bit too similar. Oh, but it actually makes it more similar. Wait, it decreases, so it's still going to be a little, like, I don't know if they need that decrease. It's kind of, I guess it doesn't really help the game and just slows down the pace when it doesn't have to, especially in single player. All right, sound sensors. Mute buttons have been added to each sound sensor's truck UI. Awesome. Heck yeah. Spirit box. Small environment lights, such as lamps, must now also be turned off to receive a response. You must hold the spirit box to use it with text-based voice recognition. Okay. Small environment lights, such as lamps, must now be turned off to receive a response. So all lamps must be turned off now. That's a new interesting change. We didn't have that before. UV lights. Tier 1 and Tier 2 have been swapped for better progression during leveling. Sweet. Wait, Tier 1 and Tier 2 UV lights. So Tier 1 is just a lower flashlight, and Tier 2 is the glow stick. Okay, that makes sense. I think they still need to do a little bit more to change the UV lights, but that's a thing. Optimizations. We've drastically improved the performance in several areas. I actually noticed that immediately. It loaded up a lot faster, which will result in fewer stutters, higher FPS, and quicker loading times, especially on low-end machines. The number of fixes and optimizations would be too many to list. Awesome. So there's just a bunch of optimizations. They didn't list them all, but cool. It will hopefully be better on most computers. I know it has been a struggle, especially on people that had older computers, and that will also probably help when it comes to the switch over to allow for for allowing for console. So them doing that is very important to allowing them to have console later on. So that's a good step in the right direction. Training, I mean, who cares about training? New ID card badges. Awesome. I'm just going to glance through these because I'm not very crazy about these. Like, I don't really need to know too much about them. Equipment, you can no longer swap inventory slots while taking a photo. Remove flashlights from hide and seek extreme as they were disabled from settings. Deja Vu weekly now has a UV tier 1 and 7. Yeah, see, it's kind of sad because there's not many weekly challenges anymore, so I don't really care about these. I might even stop doing weekly challenges altogether. We'll see. I have like 40 some hours of content of weekly challenges, and they're starting to get repetitive. Lighting the summoning circle candle will now instantly end the setup phase. Awesome. That should have been a thing already. Ghost, non-ghost writing. Ghosts now close the book after throwing it. That's a lot better. But it's not really important. We already found ways around it. Ghosts can no longer interact with the already knocked down paintings. Shades can no longer blow out fire sources or write in ghostwriting books if there are any players in the room to keep their strength consistent. Okay, cool. That actually just makes it easier to tell Shades. I think that has fooled me once or twice since the new update. Improve the ghost's ability to interact with closed doors. That's great for Yuri's. Hopefully that's a lot better. They've been very low for 2 updates now. Improve Banshee AI targeting when they stalk a player. Cool. So it'll find players easier when they're specifically looking for one. I wish to see a ghost will now limit your vision after the ghost event instead of 4 to allow you to see the ghost. Okay. Increase the sanity drain on one of the ghost events to match the other events. I thought that was actually a thing. I don't care about the environment changes. Audio changes. I'm a huge audio-like person, so I want to hear these. Adjusted audio effects to help identify if sounds are above or below you. That's great, especially since they added Lighthouse. Sounds that are 1 floor above are bass boosted and muffles. Sounds that are 1 floor below will be more muffled and quiet. That's awesome. Sounds that are 2 floors above you or below you will have more extreme effects and volume reduction. That was a big question that I was going to have. I wasn't sure how that was going to work with the Lighthouse being a thing. The heartbeat sound will no longer be altered by reverb or other audio effects. Audio levels for the ambient room tone and Ouija board have been remastered to bring them in line with other sounds. And reduce the volume for the writing sound of the ghostwriting book tier 3. The big thud they're probably talking about. Audio levels for ambient room tone and a Ouija board have been remastered to bring them in line with other sounds. Oh, good. Hopefully they'll be lower, because the ambient noises were way too high, and we talked about that on the prison maps before. And I think I'm going to cut that here.